Okay, welcome back, everybody. Property Nirvana Nation. This is Brian Carmody, your host and founder of Property Nirvana, and I'm here with it's a couple of very special guests, Christian Riez from Condo Control, and his content writer for the company, Kim Brown. So we've got some great talent on the call on this interview. We're going to talk about some of the issues that they are seeing in the marketplace and how they're addressing them. And by issues, I mean the niche specific kind of topic we're talking about today is real estate investors, property owners, and property managers who own or run properties like condos and HOA type properties have different issues and challenges and things that they need to deal with compared to non-HOA properties. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and hear from them some of the things that they see are happening out there. We'll talk about how Condo Control is working to make all of those headaches go away and make it easy, and we'll go from there. So as usual, we take about 30 minutes. It'll be a 30-minute chat, and we'll get this launched out to the world. Okay.
Thanks for inviting us. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. So glad to have you guys. It's been great to, I should say too, I have known you for a while. We've been communicating for a while and everything. So I'm glad to finally get this, on the books and scheduled.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So Christian, why don't you start off? If you want, tell us a little bit about how you got into this industry. A little bit about your role at Condo Control, and then from there we'll go into some of the bigger, broader issues that
Yeah. So how I got into this industry was quite simply, they gave me a shot. Quite simply, everybody else when I was applying for jobs, like my background is marketing, in more the PR space, and I was applying, and the operations manager gave me a shot, and so did Brian, and who's the CEO. And given that shot, yes, it was a support role, but they saw something to grow, for me to grow in that role and really understand the base understandings and principles of what Condo Control does and what we're really good at. So I was in support for over 2 years, understanding people's complaints, understanding the dev team, understanding the marketing team, understanding the CSM, the sales team, and understanding how this whole organism works and how we're so good at what we're doing and keeping up with the trends and creating new trends in the property management software space, as well as HOA space as well. Then my operations manager, Brian, as well as the marketing team, gave me an opportunity to create a new role as a digital PR consultant, which, as it sounds, is a PR consultant, but digital. So we're here to try to expand our story to everybody, like yourself, like your community, and add value to everybody that we speak to. And I can't take the credit because Kim is a very strong arm of that, and she writes amazing work and really connects with people in ways that I can't. So
awesome. Hey, the sign of a good writer, right? Somebody who's understands their reader and how they think and what kind of words appeal, what kind of approach appeals to them. That's awesome. So Kim, do you actually, if we were to go on condocontrolcentral.com, the website, are you writing the blogs? Is that?
Yeah, I'm responsible for the majority of the articles.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Awesome. How about do you do any of the copy for the, I guess, client outreach type collateral type stuff?
Yeah, we do. We do have some ads as well, and we try to keep our website fresh. So we do update copy quite a bit. And I think one of our strengths is that we are always developing either new features or updating our current ones. So we do have over 40 plus solutions, and we're always adding. So I do make sure we're up to date on those as well.
It's amazing. Sounds like a big scope. So from there, why don't we just talk about then what some of those things, if you have that many solutions, what are the big problems that the industry faces? The the HOA property owner or property manager faces that we should be aware of?
Jim, take that one.
Okay, so communication is hands down the biggest problem, regardless of how big or how small your community is. Even if you are a landlord or investor and you're just caring for 2 or 3 people, it can be a challenge to actually reach them and ensure that that flow of communication is effective. So many of our biggest, I'd say one of our biggest features is an online communication system. It all works within the platform. You can use it from your phone, you can use it from a desktop, you can schedule messages, you can set an end date. Like, we work very hard to ensure that it's customizable and it makes sense for residential communities. We also have a violation tracking feature, a vendor portal management feature. So anything to do with day-to-day operations, we try to address those. And then we have another segment for security and concierge, and that's more like condo communities.
Oh, okay. So that, yeah, I was just going to ask you until you, and then you brought up that last point. So want to kind of zero in on what is different, because the first handful of features there you mentioned could be useful for any kind of property management function, right? Apartment
Yes.
buildings and so forth. But talk to me about what some of the unique condo HOA challenges and needs are that you address.
I think like package management is another big one, especially since the pandemic. There's been a huge influx of online ordering, and there's been a lot of difficulty trying to figure out how to manage that properly. There's just not enough space. People forget about stuff. They don't get the message. The package sits there for days and days and days. So one of the solutions is to have a way to notify the resident or owner right away that their package is there, and do it on their phone, because almost everyone has a phone, and then they can come get it when it's most convenient for them. Any other unique
I think
problems?
the other thing that we've really listened to our clients about the last couple of years due to this pandemic was we've created a virtual meeting space. Not everybody is comfortable meeting in person now due to different circumstances and reasons. And now we've listened to what the clients want. Our dev teams have done that, and we've created a new virtual meeting space as well that we can run proxy on or AGMs on. So we're trying to be very adaptive and listen to our clients a lot. And I think that quality of being able to pivot and just listen to our clients sets us apart a bit. Like, our support team's amazing. They really are very proactive in their approach. Our dev team is the same way. So I think everybody in our team, from sales to marketing, is very proactive and going, hey, let's listen, figure out, take that feedback, and how do we make this platform even better? How do we've added a resource hub, we've added discussion forums, so now communities can speak to each other instead of not knowing your neighbor and doesn't realize your neighbor has a classified ad, and you're like, hey, I can get your sofa. Cool, that's awesome. Or, amenities that people are the basics. But yeah, definitely we're really, I love that about us, is that ability to be proactive and really adapt to what our clients want and need.
And you mentioned, Christian, in your initial roles with the company, you get to kind of see all different aspects of the company, including, I guess, complaints or challenges. And I don't know if that's fair to say complaints for your company, but just complaints in the industry and, some of the pain points that people have.
Yes.
So tell us more about that. Like what you saw.
What I've noticed is property managers have a limited amount of time with a lot of clients, and property managers don't have a lot of time in a day to address all the issues doing it manually. Like, the old way of property management or running an HOA, I'm not saying doesn't work, it's maybe not as efficient. And property managers have high turnover in the United States. What I've noticed, like, I've done some research, it's quite high. So every 3 years, a new property manager comes in. I spoke to another person 2 days ago. Every 2 years, they've had a new property manager come in. So being able to be like the property manager's buddy or best friend and give them those tools to help support them so they can leverage their time is massive. I think that that's number one. Number two is having everybody's on their mobile. So we had a lot of complaints from people going, hey, we want an app, but we want to be able to have all these functionalities that you have on your desktop on your app. And our dev team has listened, and we've tried to in sync it to create those types of features. So now you can book an amenity on your phone, you can pay your bills on your phone, you can pretty much do everything on your phone. And the security team is now being able to do parcels on their phone, do their security checks, patrol on their phone as well. So we're trying to listen to, those are the main issues that we've come across, as well as the AGM, being able to, how do we communicate with each other when we're not able to be in the same room? AGM, virtual AGM was created, and we'll always constantly evolve and constantly adapt. Is there anything else that I missed out, Kim?
I think you've covered the main bases. Yeah.
How about call out AGM? We have a lot of beginner investors. So what is AGM as an acronym?
Kim, do you want to take that one?
So it's an annual general meeting. Some people just call it general meeting, depending on where you are. So your association has an obligation to host one of these every year. Often that's where it is where you elect new board members. You go over the budget for the upcoming year. Any really big high level association business is covered in these meetings. So it's really important and in everyone's best interest really to attend them, but they often don't get the turnout that they're hoping for.
I see. So what about how does Condo Control do its kind of pricing model? You don't really have to go into the cost of things, but is it a monthly subscription I'm asking, or is it an annual thing, or how does it work?
Kim, I think you have a little bit more information than I do on that one.
So we do try to be as flexible as possible, and we do offer both a month to month and an annual subscription, and you could pay annually as well, but then pay a monthly fee. So we do understand that associations aren't flush with cash. We get it. So we do try to work with communities.
Do you find that there are property management firms out there that obviously service multiple communities? So talk about that dynamic. Do they become your client, the property management company, or is it the community itself? Or can it be either?
I'll take that one, Kim. Is like, overall, we normally take on, let's just say it's a property management company and saying, hey, we're interested in what you're doing. We like it. Let's test it out with one building. Fantastic. So normally what would happen is there would be an integration process where from the sales team, it would go to someone that would help do the onboarding and the integration. And then from there, it would go to someone that we call as a customer success manager. That is your go-to person that listens to all your grievances, listens to what you need, what you don't need. And then, of course, support helps everything in between. And the goal of that is that now you have this property management. They're going, oh, let's try one building. Fantastic. Now let's try another building. And so the purpose is to be fully integrated with all your buildings. However, due to sometimes trust are not given. That's just how I roll for myself. So quite a few property management companies are the same. We're one building at a time. We show what we're worth. We show that we do a good service. We have great software. We have a great team that we back behind. And then overall, that bond and that rapport builds. And then normally we take on more and more of that building, more of those buildings, my apologies. So that property management company can have 300 buildings, and we'd be known to take on all 300 or more. Wow. So the goal for us is to develop a symbiotic relationship that will help grow that property management company. Yep. And in turn, we help support it, and it's a win-win. We support you, You grow more, fantastic. We keep supporting you. You keep growing more. Everybody's a win-win.
Right. That's great. And how, I guess I'd like to say, how do you, or I'd like to ask, how is this different from, I mean, I guess maybe it's well, I don't know. What if this was, it sounds like you can still service any um, apartment complex, so to speak,
Mhm.
that, isn't necessarily a condo, but just a bunch of renters. And, they've got some kind of, small like facility staff on staff. Maybe there's a demo office manager and then a couple of maintenance people and that's it, so are you it sounds like condo control can work for that kind of scenario too.
From my understanding and from my experience in support, now going into the marketing side, is we go from the building that has 5 or 6 units in it, or 5 or 6 homes, like as an HOA, to over 2 or 3,000 units in a building, or in a, like the house I live in, the community, we're using condo control, and we have over 1,000 homes in our community in out here. So it's funny that, but it's a system that you don't think of too much, but it is a practical, useful scenario based technology that can really add value. What do you think, Kim?
I agree. Yeah, as long as there is someone who is willing to take a lead role, it can absolutely work for a very small community.
Okay. And what's the onboarding like, both for the property management side as well as the tenants?
So normally the onboarding process, when you go from the sales, you go into our integration, and then from the integration, there'd be a couple different steps in that. It's fairly straightforward, and we've actually just keep cutting it down so it's simpler, easier, and simpler and easier. And so in that time period, it can be, the onboarding could be anywhere between 2 weeks. It could be a bit longer, depending on the synergy and the documents required. If a property manager is like, hey, I'll give you the documents, and they don't come in a month, we can't pull those documents out of you. We have to be patient and wait, right? So,
Okay.
but the onboarding process is quite simple and straightforward in that manner there, getting the property management team. Normally what would happen is you get your property management or your board members set up, and then from there, we will help direct with the CSM as well as our support in getting everybody else onboarded. Normally we send out an announcement going, hey, get onboarded, do this, this. Very straightforward process that has been proven to be successful time and time again over thousands and thousands of times, from start to finish, from board members all the way to the user or resident. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does.
Perfect.
Guys, this is we did kind of a short talk, but I think that's probably going to serve the audience better, because
Perfect.
really you packed in so much information in here. Really, we covered a lot of ground in 15 minutes, and
Yeah.
I think people would rather spend 15 minutes watching a video and learning a lot than dragging it out. So that's my mode of thinking anyway. Is there any last thing you'd like to emphasize though before we?
I think for my perspective, or one tip I'll give your audience, is if you're not sure about something, look at how that software deals with people. Look at what they do for, like, yes, you can buy on price. Anybody can. You can go lower, lower, lower. But if you really want something that's quality of anything, ask questions, number one. Number two, look at the different resources. We have a massive resource hub that has full of resources to help support people going through the same things that other people have gone through over and over again in HOAs or condos. So I think it's ask questions and find the right resources to help support you. Any last words, Kim?
No, I think that you've covered it. Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely an investment that it's going to pay off. So we encourage you to do your research. We're always happy to talk with anyone who's interested and curious and not sure. And we will do our best to show you how it can make your life better.
Awesome.
And if you're a client, if you're a client, for a fact, without a doubt, coming from the person of support, if you have a grievance or you want to change and there is value in that change, we'll make that change for you. We will listen to you and adapt to different changes. So I think having that ability and structure is really great as well too in the future, if that is something that works for you guys or your audience.
Okay. And hey, I'd like to add for everybody in the audience too, when they mentioned resources, I went on their website and clicked on the resources tab. One of the things that they have articles, case studies, webinars, but in templates. I clicked on templates. There's a lot of information, a lot of templates here. Things like
It's free. It's free.
it's all right there to download. It's amazing.
free.
I mean, it's a long list, you know, violation letters, meeting lists, meeting agendas, proxy forms, voting ballots, all kinds of things, bylaws and rules. So if you're you know, new to owning a condo or an HOA type of thing, and you know, and you want to at least get a head start on what the standard typical regulations are and something, you can download that and then kind of bring it to your attorney to tweak it from there. You know, just kind of probably moves a lot faster and saves you some money too.
100%.
So as much as, you know, as much as the software obviously has some cost to it or an expense to it, they give away a lot of free things here that could probably save you some expenses elsewhere. There's a big category on financials as well. So again, with your accounting team, you know, if you started with one of their templates, you could probably adjust from there and again, save many hours. Property management forms, I mean, my goodness, record keeping. So lots of good freebies out there that you guys are contributing, which I love to see. And I hope you'll be rewarded for that with.
Well, we want to add value to the community, period.
Yep.
Like if it's not a sale, it doesn't matter. It's about adding value to the community, because I think educating the community is key in creating more of that awareness, which I think long-term will help everybody in the long term.
Absolutely. And people are going to reward you for that. You know, if you give, then you know, that's going to attract people that recognize that and reward it. It's just the way the world works, you know? So,
It is.
All right, Christian, Kim, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate all your knowledge that you shared with us today and your experience. Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you
having
for
us
having
on.
us.
I appreciate it. Have an awesome day.